Hi, I'm Angel Peterson from fleecefun.com, and I'm here in the AllFreeSewing studios, and today we're talking the anatomy of fabric. Yes, there's an anatomy to fabric, and we're going to talk about it. Alright, so when it comes to the anatomy of fabric, there's actually pieces and parts to a piece of fabric. It's just not, fabric. People just think it's one whole piece and that's all there is to it. But you know more than that because you are a sewist, so we're going to go over that today. And it's something that I don't think gets explained well enough to beginning sewists because it's actually very important to have success with your project. So looking at this, the most obvious thing, of course, is the selvage. And this is the end of the fabric. Here you're going to find information on the fabric, who designed it, color dots, that sort of thing. So if you have a fabric that you like or a collection that you like, just look at the selvage and you'll know what it is. The other thing you need to be aware of is that selvage is not usable. Okay, so that comes off. That's not part of the usable fabric. Although I think there are projects where they just use the selvage on stuff just to be able to use them. Now, looking at this entire piece of fabric, one thing that is very obvious is that there is a right side and a wrong side to fabric. So when we talk cutting out or when you're sewing something, you're going to hear the terms right sides together and wrong sides together. Right side refers to the printed side of the fabric. Wrong side refers to the part that is not printed on. So when we say right sides together, that means right sides are touching. All right? When we say wrong sides together, that means wrong sides are touching. And it's something you need to be aware of because when you're cutting things out or sewing things together, that's really important to know. Other terms when it comes to fabric is lengthwise grain and crosswise grain. Lengthwise grain is the length of the fabric, so that's this part. And when you get an arrow on a pattern, that's typically dealing with the lengthwise grain. Crosswise grain is going across the fabric, okay? And if you notice, there's a little more give in the fabric this way than there is this way. And that's important to know because the fabric designer wants their project to lay a certain way, and you have to cut it out correctly for it to lay correctly on your body. On the fold is another term that you'll hear, and that's this crease. So when we refer to this fabric, we say it's 45 inches wide, which it is. It's a very wide piece of fabric. However, on the bolt, you're going to have it folded, and often when we cut things out, it's also folded just to save time. So on the fold refers to the exact opposite side of the selvage, the part where it's creased. All right, so one more term that you need to be aware of, as we talked about lengthwise and crosswise grain, is bias. And if you look, this, okay, crosswise, lengthwise. Bias is a 45-degree angle. See how much more give the fabric has at that angle? So bias tape, guess how that's cut? On the bias at that 45-degree angle. So it's important to understand these properties. One, if you want to make bias tape, so that's 45 degrees from the selvage. But it's also important to understand when you're cutting out patterns and things, all these terms. And they affect your project and how they'll do. Where do you like to buy your fabric? Let us know in the comments below. And also, while you're here, please give us a thumbs up for our hard work here. And be sure to subscribe to AllFreeSewing's YouTube channel.